Carl Plunkett from Western Australia. I own a company called Eco Structures, which develops or manufactures ecotourism tents and cabins and modular units, and we sell them around the world. I also have been an owner-operator for tourism for the last 30 years, and I personally own Eco Beach Resort, which is one of the most remote resorts in the world, up in Broome, Western Australia. So I've been involved in tourism since I was in my early 20s. I first started off backpackers when in Broome for 10 years. And I used to run these adventure tours up through the Kimberley. And when asking the customers what they most enjoyed was they enjoyed being in the bush, being in the middle of nowhere and sleeping under the stars. So then I went out to set myself a target to actually build for the future, which the experiential tourism was back 30 years ago. Or if backpackers were the future tourist, their demands were those requirements. By the way, Eco Beach won all the National Tourism Awards, the Domestic Tourism Awards, British Airways Tourism of Tomorrow Awards, and so it was quite a significant ecotourism property at its time. We were completely recyclable, all our energy waste on site, and we had worm farms, we had all the sort of buzzy eco stuff which anybody had any idea about 30 years ago. So we were at the forefront of the future of tourism. So it was quite an exciting thing to be part of. We're a cyclonic proof tent, which is very unusual because of the location we're in, but this actually got the capital cost of the resort down 30 or 40% because 50% of the rooms are actually in tents and the other 50% of the rooms are in modular prefabricated buildings. So with the tent, it's a little bit different than most tents. It's actually a structural steel tent, handle very, very high winds, and it's then wrapped in canvas. So it gets all the feelings for the tent for the customer and the experience for the customer, but then, obviously then it can handle those elements that we've got in the Kimberleys in the northwest of Australia. So from the eco tent, I've always been a builder all my life. I've done 30 years of remote construction. So most times I actually have to go and build a workers camp, and after the workers camp, then we build the properties, whether they become houses or in this particular case, it's the property called Karajini. Again, absolutely in the middle of nowhere. It's central Western Australia, and very interactive with nature. It's a perfect example of where the tent is provided for accommodation only, and the experience is the location. So, I go back to, what is ecotourism, and quite often I always say that you sleep for free and pay for the experience. So the experience is the gorges, the waterfalls, the location, sleeping outside, all of that stuff. That's the experience, and then the accommodation is an add-on to it. So when you have a room rate is not necessarily just judged on what the room feels like in a standard hotel. In ecotourism or the glamping tented tourism, it's all about the experience. Our own property, we go like, what's our 5 most important assets, and it's got actually nothing to do with buildings. Our assets are, the bushwalk, the creek, Cape Villeray, the mangrove systems, the wader birds, and they're all our assets, and that's what you sort of, you develop and design the resort around those assets, and that's what the customer's going to do, and how does he interact as an accommodation into doing those things, which is really important for making a property successful and going forward from there. The idea of luxury travel, that's an interesting question. So what is luxury? I always remember there was a lady that came to our very first Eco Beach, and when we won the British Airways Award, she was from the Tatler magazine, and she wrote a line about Eco Beach. So Eco Beach was just little wooden cabins on the beach in the middle of nowhere, built 30 years ago, or 20 something years ago. And so we were out there in the forefront. We'd won all the ecotourism awards, and we were about to win the British Airways Awards Tourism of Tomorrow. And she came up with a caption for me, which really sticks in my head, and goes like, are you simple enough? Are you sophisticated enough to be simple enough? And so the future of luxury travel is a little bit like that. It's not for everybody. I always say that, quite often the ecotourism is the people with the money want to stand on the fence and look into the wilderness. So what that basically means, the future is having these amazingly comfortable places on the edge of the wilderness, so you can actually immerse yourself in the wilderness but come back to safety. And that's kind of, they're taking you into these amazing locations where you can come back to your safety and your comfort of your main place. So that's what I think the future is going to be. There's going to be these spectacular places which are going to charge an amazing amount of room rates. And what are they really selling? They're selling experiences. They're not selling beds. What people are paying for is that unique experience, which I don't know whether it's going to happen with mass tourism. It's going to be small boutique tourism is where I think that the future will be.